Welcome to the Fertility Rewire podcast. I'm your host, Kat Stevens, a fertility therapist, educator and advocate. I want to share with you what you should have been told, what you should be being told, and basically to arm you on this journey so that you have the right information to be able to ask the right questions to get the answers you need. You can find me at fertilityrewire.com. I hope you enjoy the podcast. Well, hello and welcome to episode 60 of the Fertility Rewire podcast. And I'm recording this in the middle of December and I'm hoping to get this out to you before Christmas, really, or the holidays, whatever holiday you're celebrating. And I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge this time of year. I know it can be very, very difficult. I know not being able to get pregnant either with your first child or extending your family is difficult at any time of the year. But the holidays bring with it a lot more emotion generally. So you might be seeing family members that you don't see very often, big gatherings of families that you wanted to have extended into. You might see your sisters or brothers with their children, and that's your hope, obviously, for yourself, and that can be hard. You might, if you're looking to extend your family, be looking at your child and wondering what that would be like if they had a sibling with them over Christmas and that this was the family that you imagined. So you have that personal grief really that's going on there for what you wish, what you'd hoped, and the pain of not having it is there. But also when you're faced with so many people, whether that be your work Christmas dues or family gatherings, and people just ask yet again the most inappropriate, ill thought out questions. You might meet an aunt that says, so when are you two going to have children then? Or comments like, oh, it's your career. Are you focusing on your career? Or, oh, it's sad that he's an only child. And these are wounding words. They're like daggers. And how do you respond? How do you respond to that? And generally, we're not sharing that we're trying to get pregnant and that we're struggling because it's incredibly personal and you don't want to open that up to everybody, that it's a discussion every time you see them, because it just opens you up to a lot, doesn't it? It might open you up to some well-thought sympathy, some great words of advice, but all too often it's just not a subject you necessarily want to talk about. And if this is you, I'd like you just to think and to plan ahead and think of some responses that you might be able to give. And it completely depends on you and on your personality and how much you want to share. So do you just change the subject? Do you just look at them in surprise and say, I don't know, or not yet, and change the subject? Do you turn to them and say, well, that's a question I'd like to know the answer to, and be prepared for what will come after that? Or, I often think we'd like to all be able to say this, but maybe not necessarily. But when someone's asking such a personal question, do you turn it back on them and say, well, if we're chatting about sex life, tell me something about yours, because that's where we seem to be going. That could become uncomfortable. So have a think about what it is you're going to say to them. Are you just going to bat it away? Are you going to just, say, I don't know, or I don't want to talk about it, or it's none of your business? That could be uncomfortable as well, I take it. It depends on the relationship you have. So take a moment now and have a think. What can you just say? And the problem is as well, you're going to be prepared for it, aren't you? You're going into a situation, you're almost ready for battle. So you're just ready for this to be said to you. So I want to share with you a practice that I have shared before on different podcasts, but I think it's worth a reminder. Just to be a little bit more present in the moment. And I'm not, going on to a meditation here, but just to stop that chattering mind, that what if they ask me this? Someone's going to ask me this. Oh, they're looking at me like this. They're going to ask this. Just bring your mind to just some breaths. Remember when I've talked about before, the long, slow out breath is putting you into rest and digest. The slow in-breaths, the sharp in-breaths, even the long in-breaths actually are putting you more into that feeding, that fight or flight response that's going on. So just take a moment, breathe out long and slow. Take a breath to replenish. Breathe out long and slow. And often if we can do this out of our mouth, it helps us direct it a little bit more. And you can also be blowing a little bit more down than straight out in front of you. So a long, slow out breath. In, however suits your breathing, you don't have to follow mine. Long, slow out breath. Just to reset that kind of anxiety mode, that anxious feeling that's going on. So preparation is key. Calming is key. But what if also you just had a renewed air of positivity, a renewed air of actually, we've set about this, we're looking into this now, and this is going to help us. And I know when people start working with me, they feel like they've handed it over to me and I take that on for them, and I'm going to be their advocate, their guide, their advisor, their calmer, as well as their therapist, in showing them what they can do to improve their fertility based on what we find by looking into it. So that can be something, rather than thinking there's nothing we can do, just have a think about what you might be able to do. And I work with people at different levels. So I work one-to-one. You can get information from me here, of course. I'm on TikTok and Instagram. You can find me there. On TikTok, it's cat_fertility rewire. On Instagram, it's Fertility Rewire, and you can find some information there. There are free resources that you can get via TikTok, via Instagram, and at fertilityrewire.com. And then I have group program for those looking to extend their family, and for those of you that are trying for your first child, and maybe you've not had tests yet, maybe you're still in that year limbo waiting, or maybe you've had tests and it's come back as unexplained, you can access the digital pack now. And what I'm doing for December 2022, yes, gosh, I forgot for a moment, here in December 2022, and I will maybe extend this to a little while in January, is that you can also get the free support option if you purchase the pack. So the pack is affordable, and then you would get a free support option that I'm working on at the moment, and I'm just starting that with a few people, looking at developing the support as to how people want it before that may become a paid option later. I'm not sure yet. So all that remains really is to wish you a very, very happy holidays. You've got this. You've got this. You just have to know where to look. And the calmer you are, not generally about the whole thing, I'm not telling you to relax, but in a moment, just take a moment just to calm. You're able to think a little bit clearer. But I would love to hear some of your responses that you will be giving, or perhaps if you've listened to this later, have given when you're asked those dreaded questions, and how that went for you. But for now, take care, and I'll see you in 2023. I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And whether you're trying for your first child, your second child, or more, whether you've just started on your journey or you've been on the twists and turns of this for a long time, I really hope this information is going to help you ask the right questions to get the right answers. And if you want to know any information about Fertility Rewire, about working with me, or the free resources that I have available, please visit www.fertilityrewire.com. Until next time.